Okay. I have to issue what I guess you could call a retraction. Okay. I had a meeting with my election administrator today, Heider Garcia. Wasn't my meeting, but I went to it. And in that meeting, it was established. Heider let me know how displeased he was with my most recent videos about him. And he wanted me to clarify something. He wanted it to be made clear. A few things, right? For accuracy's sake. You know, we're going to get it right. We should probably get it right. Okay. So I've been saying that in 2010, Heider Garcia was sued in the Philippines. Okay? All right, he was not sued. Heider Garcia was subpoenaed to appear before a committee in the Filipino legislature investigating election fraud. That's what happened. But he was not sued. He's never been sued until a local patriot sued him for a TRO on the 2020 servers. That was the first time, though. Also in that meeting, that Heider will be producing the early vote result tapes that I've been asking him for a year. So over a year. No, less than a year. I need to watch out before I have to issue another retraction. My reaction was, really? And he said, yes. He says, we can't do them every day because that's illegal. And I guess I forget every now and then that he follows my channels. So he has heard my all points bulletins on these topics. He's not willing to do them every day for purposes, you know, like I said in the all points bulletin, they don't want people to release the early vote results per candidate if they happen to see them before the close of the polls on election day. So he says, I can't do it every day. That's illegal. I said, okay. I want to thank Heider Garcia because this is progress. I would also like to point out to every other county election official, whether it's a county clerk or an elections administrator, to look at Heider, start taking notes on how to comply with what the citizens of your county are asking for, okay? Because I'm going to give credit where it's due. Heider's been more accommodating than most election administrators that I've contacted, and I've contacted several. Williamson County, Heider's putting you to shame. And it may be true, you know, not everyone's as good as Heider at administering elections. I've made the comment before. He's the best in the world, isn't he? But I'm going to go ahead and say, as far as doing what your citizens want, everyone else needs to start taking notes. Thank you, Heider. Because on primary election night, you weren't going to produce the tapes at all. And I followed up for several weeks, a couple months afterwards, asking, can we get those tapes produced? Can we get those tapes produced? And the answer was no. You weren't going to do it. It was everything I had in me not to play the Retracto theme song, the Correction Alpaca from Project Veritas. In fact, I may edit that in here because I issued a retraction. Okay, Heider? You weren't sued. You were subpoenaed to appear before a committee in the Filipino legislature, which was investigating election fraud.
There are a few things, though, that I did want to share with you that are some changes in our processes that we're planning to institute. I see them all as good things, but I'd still like to hear your feedback and hear this, you know, see if the court has any feedback. I have to be in court on Tuesday to ask the court to issue the order of election, call for the election formally. So that'll be a great opportunity to hear Commissioner's Court also see if they have any feedback on this. First thing that we're going to do different this year, we're going to print the early voting tapes, the results from the early voting machines. we had not been doing that. That's in one of those areas where the state says, well, it depends on how you configure the machine and what options you have, and it's become a repeated request, right? We want to see the early voting tapes. We want the machines to print the tapes in early voting like they do on election day. The main reason we hadn't done it earlier in the year is, one, we hadn't set up for it, and two, there is not a lot of clarity as to when we can do this and what happens when we do it. And I talked a little bit about this in April, but we, as the elections office, have to make sure that before the close of polls on election day, those results are not disclosed. We have to protect them. But at the same time, we now have an obligation to allow a poll watcher who's there to see a document if we have it. And so if we print them before election day and the watcher says, I want to see what that tape has, and we refuse to, we could be committing crime. And so I don't have the details of the mechanics, but we don't have to do it before election day. We are going to do it. So we're either going to do it election night while we wait for the trucks to come back. So there's a big gap in waiting, and I think we can all anticipate, and this particular one turnout is probably going to be high, which means a wait will be longer, or we'll just do it the next day or the next week. But those tapes are going to be printed and posted on the website, and I think that adds to that whole conversation we were having in April about that pyramid of transparency, right? We have paper ballots, now we have paper tapes, we have results, we have the whole reconstruction of the sequence, right? So that's one thing that we're going to do, we're going to add on top of what we're doing now.
Thank you, Heider.